The Forest, a true summation of survival games, putting you not only against cannibals instead of the traditional zombies, but also giant mutants that have multiple arms to strike fear into you until your fight or flight response kicks in. The Forest really keeps you on your toes, unsure of what's going to happen around the corner of a mountain or on the landscape of a new island. Honestly, for the first few hours of gameplay, I was utterly terrified, as I was not only unaware of my surroundings, but also underestimating the cannibals. Because in this game, the enemies aren't like your traditional survival game. Instead of zombies, they are flesh-eating cannibals who, if they catch you, they will drag you into a cave and leave you to rot. The game has a real emphasis on strategy and pacing your way through the game. Even on the easiest difficulty, there is no true way to breeze through the game, as if it was that easy, it wouldn't necessarily be a survival game. With The Forest, you can either choose to play single player or multiplayer, but honestly, I prefer to play single player as I feel it's the best way to go. Now, this could just be me being an introverted gamer and preferring single player games over multiplayer ones, but playing The Forest in single player gives a more isolated experience, making moments more tense, frustrating, and rewarding. Playing the game in multiplayer really diminishes the rewarding gameplay. The tenseness of the game is lifted as now a group of you can face off against multiple cannibals instead of just being alone and attempting to kill the cannibals yourself. In The Forest, there is no way to find out how to craft weapons and the ammunition for those weapons, unless you cheat yourself and look on a YouTube tutorial. In the early hours of the game, I was only stuck with a spear and a hatchet. I was filled with a real sense of achievement though, when I combined items and miraculously made a bow. I was honestly shocked. I couldn't believe that I'd figured out how to make a brand new weapon, as at the beginning of the game, I thought that I would only be able to get basic weapons. And yet, the game surprised me when I put multiple items together to make a brand new weapon. The Forest has a very steep learning curve. There is no developer holding your hand throughout your experience to help you craft things. You just have to figure it out for yourself. Although there are schematics for building houses and shelters just because they're save points. Even though the map is small, it feels varied and somehow yet feels large. As you traverse the cannibal-filled island, you feel like you're isolated and in a small space. As even though you're traversing the map, you constantly feel claustrophobic and on your toes, wondering if there are any cannibals or mutants over the hill in front of you. Up until recently, I've been using temporary camps, just to keep a save point in the game. This frustrated me for a very long time, having to rebuild a camp every time I slept, just because I wanted to make sure I had a save point to go on if I was torn to shreds by cannibals. Now, I have a permanent save point to call home, with a bed and lamps to make sure I can see the interior of my house at night time. But even if you build a house, you need to build a bed for your house to be a save point. Otherwise, it's just a few walls and a roof, nothing more and nothing less. Hunting in the forest is a surprisingly hard thing to do. There are no eagle vision options like in most modern RPGs to track animals. After they've run away where you've hit them, you just have to look in the general direction that they've run off to, and hope that you can land one more killing blow just to make sure your hunger levels stay down. In the forest, there are two main priorities. One is sustaining your food intake as so you do not starve. Two is sustaining your water supply as to not be dehydrated and become weaker, and perhaps even die. I found trying to get food in the forest at first to be very tricky, and yet there was an element of patience and precision to be dealt with. When using a bow or a spear, there are no crosshairs, as over time you just learn the trajectory of your arrows and whether it will land a killing shot on the animal you're tracking, and I guess cannibals alike. But if you do try and hit an animal and you miss, it will most likely just run away. I almost find this game therapeutic, until the cannibals try and kill you, of course, but the lush forests of the game are spectacular. Although, if you decide to pick up this game, I'd make sure you put your brightness at a moderate level, so the game just doesn't turn into a washed out mess. The forest has one very intriguing game mechanic, which I absolutely love, and I haven't really seen it in many other survival games that I've played. In other survival games, the AI is simply programmed to roam around the map, and within a certain distance of you, they will try and attack you. But in the forest, the AI learns your moves and tactics. In the very early hours of the game, you will notice that you will see cannibals running past you or just standing near you. This is simply the AI learning how you play. The first few times you encounter the cannibals, they will attack you. And after you hit them back, they will most likely run off, and now the game knows what to expect as your primary weapon when cannibals try and attack you next. It's a very cool game mechanic, and I personally really enjoy it, as the game puts your skills and tactics against you as it tries to figure out a way to break your defences. The mutants, however, are not so complex. If they see you, you better either run or have a good enough weapon to take them down. Some will attack you with multiple arms, and others will try and run at you like a rhino and knock you to your feet, leaving you open for attack. So you've always just got to keep on your toes in the forest, and make sure that you're aware of your surroundings, as when you feel safe, you should know that you're not. In conclusion, the forest is a phenomenal survival game, putting your own tactics against you and learning what you do and how you do it. You need to sustain your hunger and dehydration meter as to not become weaker in combat. You need to keep warm in the snowier sections of the map as so you do not freeze. You need to make save points as to not be put too far back in your progress. To those of you who enjoy survival games, the forest is like no other. It is a truly isolating experience and does make you feel alone. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, then please subscribe and press that notification button so you don't miss another upload from me. So thank you and goodbye.